Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG radio show. I got with me another guest, another expert, another person you actually just want to sit down and meet to discuss real estate, but from a realtor's side. You know, we come across a lot of people who come on the show as investors. We got a lot of people that come on the show as far as gurus being in the industry. But John actually comes from the heart. John's trying to help realtors such as yourself grow into better positions to make yourself much more that exceedingly wealthy. In addition, more popular. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to John Barnak to the RNG radio show. Thanks for joining me, John.
My pleasure. And I appreciate the opportunity to come on here, share some of the things that I see happening in the industry and some of the great opportunities that might be in front of us.
Great. Awesome. So John, let's start with the first and foremost thing. What's the company and why do people need to contact you as soon as they get done watching this interview?
Well, a company's called Real, the Real Brokerage, and it's a newer up and coming company. Been in business for probably about 5 or 6 years now, catching a really good stride right now. And they're, in my opinion, like the future of real estate. If you look at the landscape and really the industry, how it's been over the last several decades, there hasn't been a lot of innovation or change. I think Remax was the last company that came out with something different, like back in the 70s or the 80s, and they went to like a very high split, right? 90, 100%. And that was really kind of like the newest thing that's happened. And from my perspective, you know, I came into real estate, you know, as a factory worker. Quit my job, went in real estate full time. And from my perspective, I always felt like, and the reason I liked real estate was because I felt like the harder I worked, the more I could get. And I always liked that trade-off, right? Being able to put more in and get more out. However, what I noticed in me and my partners evaluating the landscape of the industry, there was always this divide or this gap between like the owners, manager brokers, and the owners of the companies and the agents. And for us, it was about how do we close that gap, or how do we give an equal or potentially a better opportunity to the agents who, quite frankly, are building the business, right? They're the ones that are out there meeting with the clients. They're the ones that are hitting the pavement. They're putting their sweat and equity, hours, they're putting everything right into making things happen and creating deals and generating revenue. But what you typically see is, and my favorite question is, do you know a retired real estate agent?
Yeah. It's either it's always the transition of I'm retired and now I'm a realtor, or but it's always the how many years I have over here. Like, oh, I got 30 plus years, 35 plus years, but you never hear like, oh, I got done with the industry because that was it. So
yeah, and that to us was like the biggest red flag that we noticed. People work their entire lives, most of the time building somebody else's company, right? Helping someone else become wealthy, helping someone else, you know, create that generational legacy. And then what do they get at the end, right? What do they get in return? So for us, it was really that simple in creating that equal, or like I said, even a potentially better opportunity. And what we ultimately did was we partnered with Real earlier this year. We were independent for a long time because we just couldn't find a company that had a similar mindset or a company that we could align with at that level. And what we really found out, especially during the pandemic, what we really found out, because we had huge goals, we wanted to go nationwide, we wanted to take our company public, so all of our agents had a piece of what they were helping us create and build. And what we found out through the pandemic was, yeah, maybe we don't want to be the person or be the people that are responsible for trying to create that type of infrastructure, or trying to build a national brand or a national company. And we had to eat some humble pie and really just kind of swallow our pride and look in the mirror and say, are we really, and like me and my partners, right, are we really the best people to provide that type of opportunity for everyone that we interact with or come across, or that we potentially want to partner with on our team? And well, we came to the conclusion that, for lack of better words, like we didn't want to be the next Gary Keller, right? We didn't want to be responsible for all of that. And we started looking at companies. EXP was on the list. And I love EXP, man.
Mhm.
I love them because of what they've done for the industry in
Yeah.
knocking down a lot of the weeds and starting to open people's minds to what's possible, right? As a real estate agent. And that was a company that we looked very extensively at. We were recruited by them for several years. And when this shift for us started happening in our mindset, we were like, well, they've got revenue share and they're sharing equity, right? Exactly what we thought, but they were bigger, better, right? They'd gotten much further down the road than we had. So we thought that was the most logical choice. And begrudgingly, we were like heading in that direction. We weren't, and nothing bad to say, right? I'm not the type of person that, if you throw dirt, you lose ground. So I don't throw dirt at anyone or talk bad about anybody. Like I said, I respect what they've done for the industry. There's just a couple things that kind of made us a little uneasy. Plus, we felt like we had missed the biggest potential and biggest opportunity to capitalize on what they were doing, because they already went from like $3 a share to $140 a share, $150 a share, whatever it was, and then the splits. So, that and the timing of the opportunity. And I'm a firm believer in what you put out, you get, right? There might be someone that's listening to this or check this out later. And, you are probably listening to this, whatever you're doing, driving, laying in bed, maybe you're waking up doing like a little workout or something, but you were listening to this because you put something out there consciously or subconsciously that this information needed to be in front of you when it's in front of you
Absolutely.
at this time, right? I'm a firm believer in that, in karma, right? Make sure you treat her right, because you want to make sure you got good stuff coming back to you.
She will get you.
But what you put out there, I'm a firm believer, what you put out there is going to come back to you. And we were, like I said, consciously or subconsciously, we were putting out there, we wanted something bigger, better. We wanted a vehicle that we could align ourselves with and really take our business and our company from, we were independent in Illinois to across the entire nation. How do we scale, and how do we scale like that? And it was like kind of just out of nowhere, we saw an ad for this company. I don't know if it was on YouTube, I don't know if it was on Facebook. My partner actually sent it to me, and he said, dude, he's like, take a look at this. And I don't know, can we swear on here? I don't want to swear.
Hey, it's up to
That's-
you. I put it out there.
So I shit you not.
Mhm.
I looked at this
That's not too
website, right? I looked at this website and I was like, this is almost exactly like our company, but they are just, light years ahead of us as
Mhm.
far as the structure they created and, everything that they were doing. I'll get into some of that stuff. But we were just like, dude, it's like, this is everything that we're looking for to help us accomplish our goals. And not just, and when I say our goals, I don't mean like me and my partners. I mean like our goals is in me, my partners, the agents that we already had in our brokerage and on our team, and then anyone else that we potentially come across, right? This was the ideal vehicle. And if it was something we could make up, you almost couldn't even make it up that good. That's how we felt when we looked at it. And you're always a little, I guess I shouldn't say always, because that's right. That's an ultimatum. But there's sometimes that this could be too good to be true type of feeling that you get, or when you see something like this, and it's like, website looks really good, the information sounds really good. Let's start digging deeper into this. And we started just talking to people in the company. We met the managing broker here. We ended up escalating that conversation to the national director of growth, and then we got all the way up to like leadership, right? The chief cultural officer, all those people that are at the top there orchestrating this company. And here's what made us like fall in love with this opportunity. One, a lot of the executives that are building this company right now were some of the executives that built EXP and took them from a few thousand agents to whatever, 40 or 50,000 agents, right? They're the ones who set that infrastructure up and then caused that type of accelerated growth. So for us,
Beautiful.
all right, so these people have already done it, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like round two. And they can potentially learn, right, from what they did the first time that either worked well or didn't work as well as they thought. And that was some of the open conversations that we had with them was, with us being on our second go around and building a company like this, basically what they said to summarize, they took what they liked and they left what they didn't like, restructured some of the compensation, gave a higher split, restructured the revenue share. And, to us, that being in a position with those types of people who have already done something, in my opinion, that's really great, right, for the industry and starting to shift the mindset of the brokers and starting to shift the mindset. And when I say brokers, because I don't know what your reach is, here in our area, a broker is like an agent. So when I say broker, right, same thing. So in case someone's like, oh, I don't have a managing broker's license, it's the same thing here in our state. And I know there's different verbiage in different places. So when I say brokers, I mean agents. And being with those types of people who had already created that type of opportunity once before, they get to do it again. Leaving behind all the mistakes that they potentially made, right, the first time around.
Right.
That was huge to us, right? Just the leadership and what they've already done was huge. The second part was the compensation and the revenue share, the way they structured it. They have 85-15 split, right? Just I like to be transparent and just put the numbers out there so people can do their math. 85-15 split, 12K cap, you go to 100% less a 225 transaction fee. One of the more competitive compensation models that's out there, outside of like your 100% companies, right? 100% companies they are what they are, right? I ain't throwing dirt, but they're out there, great for some people, right? That produce at a good level and want, quote unquote, keep more of their money. But pretty competitive split, right? 85-15, 12K cap, 100%. And then the other thing that we really loved was the way that they structured their revenue share. For us, when we were independent, we had revenue share as well. And the way we structured it was the people closest to you paid you the most, because we just thought that made a lot of sense, right? If I go out, Daniel, and I bring you onto my team, you're going to be the person I interact with the most. And
Right.
It's only makes sense that people you interact with most and are closest to you, you get the biggest share of the revenue. So, they inverted one of the things they learned from the last company. They inverted the revenue share and made it very top heavy. So people direct to you pay you the most, which we loved. And we just had that same mindset. Another thing that we aligned with them on. The other thing is their technology. They're a tech-based company. Got a mobile app on their phone. I can run my entire business from my phone. There's a desktop version too. I still like working on the computer as well, but it's all digital, proprietary technology. Things are going to start to change the way that agents do business, right? I mean, most agents are on their phone 24/7 anyway. Why can't you manage and run your business on the back end from your phone as well? Well, they've got that system there. Lead sources nationwide. We have people joining our team in Florida, Missouri, New Jersey, and we're all plugging in all these different parts of the country into one organized lead system. There's a guy in Florida who got $500,000 lead. His first lead. His second lead was a $1.2 million lead. His third lead was a $3 million lead. Now he's down in Miami. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a different market there. So I want to manage expectations on that, because here in Chicago and like the southern suburbs, you might not get a $3 million lead, right? Here, it's just the different markets. But, that's an organized, it's a consistent structure across the board. Anyone that's on the team with the company, any part that they're already in, can plug into that and start using that. I know that's huge for some people.
Yeah,
The other thing, and probably the most important thing to me, or I should say impactful thing for me, is the opportunity to earn equity. And there's two ways that you can do that with them. One is with rewards, they got rewards and what I'm going to call bonuses. And I'll share the bonuses at the end. But the
Okay.
rewards are for hitting certain milestones and doing certain cultural, um, giving back to the culture, right? They're huge on the culture there. That's one thing that they've focused on so much in all of our initial conversations. Culture, culture, culture. We want to drive the right culture. And the right culture will continue, again, just to put it out, will continue to attract those right highly producing and highly effective agents and teams. But the opportunity to get in and earn equity for doing what you're already doing. This is the thing that blows my mind. Earn equity in this company that's trading for less than $2 a share right now. They just went public last July, just went into the NASDAQ this July, trading for less than $2 a share. To be able to earn equity in that company, just like, you know, a lot of people did with EXP, you know, several years ago, was just, and the potential upside, right? It just made so much sense, especially since they're giving it to you for what you're already doing.
Right.
So there's bonuses for producing when you cap, when you become an elite agent, and then there's some cultural rewards as well. You can get some bonuses for giving back. Very, very giving community, but you give something back by teaching the class. I actually teach a class there on time blocking right now, and you get bonuses and rewards for that as well. Now you can also put a small percentage of your commission towards purchasing stock, you know, and get stock at the price that it's at. And then the company matches you either 25 or 50% of whatever you purchase, depending on, you know, how much you're contributing there. So I don't want to get nitty gritty and weeds in it, but the opportunity to get in at the ground floor, and we were about the 1,600 agent to join, 16 or 1,700 back in May. Now we're closing in September 20th. They're closing on 3,000 agents already. Pretty good stride, right? To go almost double in size in a 4-month period, and especially being where they're at. It'd be different if they were at like 20,000, and then each agent brings on 2 agents, and then they go to 40,000. But they're at 15, 1,600, almost doubling to 3,000. That's saying something about the type of growth that they're starting to hit. So the culture, give back culture, community, the opportunity to build passive income with revenue share, the national support and resources, and the technology, and then I think most importantly, the timing. Right, timing is something that you can't ever change the time, right? The timing, right? The timing of a situation is what it is, and you either get it or you don't.
Absolutely.
Share one quick story, and then I'll let you ask me some questions. I know I've been talking a lot. I appreciate the space.
No, the information is needed. A lot of folks, and that was my biggest thing for joining. I'm formerly with EXP, and had I done my research, I probably would have stayed with Keller Williams or chosen the brokers that I'm ultimately with now. But it's like, hey, the more information that's given out now, it's like, okay, I have this info. Wow, they do this. The leaders are coming from EXP as well. Everything is checking off everybody's list. So, I mean, honestly, the next question that could be asked is, John, where can folks go online right now to either get connected with you or find more information about or that they possibly have missed?
Yeah, great question. So I'm on like all the social media stuff. You can go to, I've got some stuff on YouTube, not a ton of stuff there, but I've got some good videos out there. Facebook is probably my most interactive platform right now. Instagram, John Barnak, space real estate. You can find me there. And then I don't know my Twitter handle offhand,
No worries,
but I'm not on Twitter as much as I should be. So, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, probably the biggest channels you can find me on. You can just Google John Barnak, realtor, should pull up all that stuff as well. And then just to get information on our company, our team put together a very concise resource page. You can go there. There's bullet points for those people that still like to read, right? There's bullet points there. There's a video that's about a 10-minute explainer video. It goes through everything, right? From start to finish, the stocks, the compensation, the transactions, whatever it might be. everything from start to finish is in that 10-minute video, very detailed, very clear, very concise. And then we've got an abundance of testimonials there. So everyone from like a brand new agent getting started and then plugging it into our 12-week agent starter course that gets people up and running like that, to people who have moved entire brokerages and entire teams of 100 plus agents doing $1 billion plus a year in transactions, sales volume, everything in between there. So brand new agent to, these team leaders that are bringing that type of production and those types of teams over is on that page. That's joininspirepartners.com.
Okay. All right, great, awesome. Now let's get to the story. I love a good story. So what's the story, man?
My dad, and I gotta give a shout out and credit. I love my parents equally, right? I got my mom, got my dad. I don't want to discredit any of that, right? Because I'm gonna tell a story about my dad. But mom, I love you, right? So she sees this. Dad, I love you too. But he was self-employed, and he was worked out of the house. He was his own business owner. So I kind of grew up with that, seeing that, not having to punch a clock, right? We went on vacation wherever we wanted to. He was at all of our games and right, plugged into everything. So I kind of grew up with that already. He told me one time he has one regret his entire life. And he had a friend back in like the early mid 80s reach out to him and said, "Hey, John," his name is John too. So I'm the third. He's a junior.
Oh,
Said,
nice.
"Hey, John, I've got this amazing opportunity to invest with this new tech company. They're going to change the way that everything works." And my dad, you don't know him, no one knows him on here, but he's very pessimistic, right? So his glass is always half empty with him. And he's always looking for okay, what's the angle on this, right? Or, you start talking about too good to be true type stuff. So he decided to pass on that company and invest in them. And he said, and he calls me, my nickname's JJ. So JJ's like, this is probably the biggest regret I have over my entire life, not investing in that company and listening to my friend at that time. It was Microsoft.
Ooh.
They had an opportunity to invest in Microsoft as
Guy.
they were getting started.
Yeah.
And he passed on it because it's too good to be true, or pessimistic, or whatever it might have been. Something told him no, not to do that. And that's forever stuck with me. And especially since, and this is just coming straight from the heart, we passed on the EXP the first time because we were like, and then there was a lot of pride. Then it was, we're going to do it bigger, better, faster. Great. You guys, we saw them as competition back then, right? Now there's enough for everybody to eat, right? And there's big, long, let's all just play nice in the sand. Let's all help each other grow.
Right.
But back then it was competition. So we passed on that opportunity back when we were trading for $2 a share or $1.50 a share. And that decision back then, because of the timing, right, and us being hard-headed or whatever back then, that decision cost me and my partners probably millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I can tell you this, I might be hard-headed, but I'm not stupid, and I ain't gonna miss it a second time, right? It's like, this is what I see is an opportunity for a lot of people who maybe missed that first wave, right? As this industry is shifting. And I truly believe, and I talked to brokers across the nation, there's a lot of these companies that are starting to come up now. A lot of these revenue sharing, a lot of these equity sharing companies that are popping up. I believe that's the future, right, of the industry. Revenue sharing, equity sharing, right? It's going to be 100% companies, and that's going to be these revenue sharing, equity sharing companies. And the people who are going to benefit the most are going to be those maven type people who can look into their crystal ball, right? Or look into the future. And luckily for us, we already have an example of what's possible, right? With the previous company. When EXP did it, man, thank God for them and what they did and how they did it. Because what they did is they just proved that that's a sustainable and scalable model and profitable. When they did it, those were the real mavens, right? Those were the real people that said, well, you know, we're on the island, let's burn the boats and let's see, you know, what if we can thrive here. And they did it. They pulled it off. So it's not even a question anymore about, does this type of model work? Will it be successful? It's a question of who's going to get in at the right time and then take the most advantage of it. And I believe that we are on the precipice of this company hitting a tipping point. Like I said, we joined in May. We were about the 1600th agent. They've almost doubled in size in 4 months. I mean, it's for a company to do something
number
like
speaks
that,
for
right?
itself. Yeah.
Numbers going to talk, right? And they're still only trading at $1.80. I think I looked this morning, it's $1.80 to $1.83. I'm hoping, right? And this is, you know, but I'm kind of hoping selfishly it stays around there, maybe for a little bit, just so I can capture as much of those rewards as possible. And then we're just going to ride that train.
Love that. That's awesome, man. I mean, definitely, I mean, the success is shown, you know, and that's one thing, like I said, you know, EXP had that model, and I'm a big history buff, you know, call it a nerd, call it what you will, but everybody came from someplace great. You know, Glenn Sanford came from Remax, or I'm sorry, it came from, you know, Keller Williams. Gary Keller came from Remax. So all these people that have led the way, you know, being the pioneers inside the real estate industry. Real looks like it's the next one. You know, they're showing it with the numbers. They're showing it with the development. You had mentioned what there's the mobile application that you can pretty much do. You don't even have to go to the office. Everything is in your hand. And we're getting more and more into the digital age, especially with, you know, the wonderful pandemic going on. Everything has to be focused on, like, how can I make this more digital environment? You know, I'm looking at law school and I'm starting to get advertisements about a virtual law firm. So, you know, in the next 5-10 years, it's going to have to be the norm. Yes, it'll be nice to have a nice brick and mortar that people can point to and say, like, oh yeah, that's my corporate headquarters. But at the end of the day, on a personal level or growing level, you're going to need to be able to have something where you could pull up the zip code area and tell the demographics or what the market is looking like to prospective buyers. So yeah, I'm definitely all for it, and I can't wait to see it grow. And hoping, fingers crossed for you, that it stays at $1.80 a share for the longest. So that way, when it does tick up, it's like, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna take 2 weeks off this week, sell a couple of shares, and go enjoy. So
yeah. No, my my personal plan, 50,000 shares is what I want to earn over the next 3 years with this company. And you know, EXP went from $3 a share to $140 or $150 a share. If I can position myself, I should say, when I position myself around that number, 40, 50,000 shares, life is gonna be a little bit different, right? On the back end here, 3 to 5 years, I think is a good mark. And I got one more plug for our team, since I'm on here and rolling anyway. We were all investors before we got into the retail space, and actually, thank you, Keller Williams, because it was the Keller Williams branch that reached out to us and asked us if we wanted to invest in their next market center. Like, hey, we see your investors in the area doing projects. Would you guys want to invest in our next market center? And that's what got the wheels turning originally. It's like, well, hold on a second. Like, how much commission are we leaving on the table, right? With the deals that we're doing. Right. So that was another thing that kind of drove us wanting to be different and really analyzing the landscape differently, right? Than most people were looking at it. So that has a lot to contribute to that, but we never lost sight of that. And it was one thing that we were extremely passionate about, and something that was extremely important to us was make sure that we continue to have a vehicle that we can invest with, but also partner with people and help people, you know, partner with people who are experienced and also help people who are inexperienced in learning the right way to invest in real estate. And the way that we teach people is with that hands-on training, right? We believe in hands-on in the field activity, right? Or really earning while you're learning. Nobody learned how to ride a bike in a bike riding seminar, right? You got to get your butt in the seat and you got to pedal. Mm-hmm. So plug on that side is, you know, our team, we've got a cash buyer in our back pocket. We have our own private fund that we started a few years ago that's continuing to grow. And, next month, we're looking at a good influx of capital. We do rehabs. We partner with people so that they can learn how to do the business, but not necessarily have to take on the risk that we took on when we started this. And then we've already got the capital set up, so they don't even have to worry about that either. We're also looking for multifamily too, preferably here in
Nice.
the Chicagoland area. We're looking at a $4.9 million 30-unit apartment building right now, preferably something value add. But these are things that, if you stumble across them, if someone listens to this and you're like, dude, it's like, I could provide single family fix and flips. You've got a buyer here, right? That already has a team and the resources and the structures in place that can go out and buy those from you or partner with you on those deals. And then on the on the multifamily, we're open to syndications and partnerships for people who bring those opportunities to us. So I don't want, and this is, when we picked our team name, Inspire Partners for a reason, right? Because we're just not out here doing this so that we can get wealthy. We want everyone around us to eat. We want everyone to be wealthy and have that same opportunity. And, we partner on as much as we possibly can. We see our brokerage team, right, the agent team as a partnership. We see our investment deals as partnerships. If someone brought, like, for example, the person who brought this 30 unit to the table, we're going to do our due diligence and we'll put up the resources to make the deal happen. But because they brought it to the table, they could partner with us on it. They could have an equity stake in it. They could have some of the cash flow, because that's truly where we're coming from, right? With everything that we do, get those types of partnerships and those win-win situations. So above and beyond, Real and everything that Real brings to the table, our team personally is very, I would say, vested and experienced and well structured on the investing side as well. Not just to be even a buyer, but let's be a partner and let's help each other grow. Let's build everybody up at the same time.
I love that. I love that. And usually that's the thing, that's another reason why I joined the current brokerage what I'm with. And not saying that EXP and Keller Williams didn't do it. It's just not out there as much as you're saying it, John. There was those partnership opportunities, there was those opportunities where it's like, hey, maybe a few realtors do get together and form an LLC and go in on maybe a multifamily or even a residential building that can create cash flow. But when you put it out there, like you do, John, it's like, hey, I don't have to have 20 degrees to do this. John is already in the industry. John already gave you a list as far as who's on his team. So now it's like, okay, I got to get the bike riding going. I got to get the bike going. So pedaling, calling, reaching out to expired listings, figuring out who's in your community and, who knows other people that are interested as far as regarding investment properties, and then reach out to John. So, the opportunities are there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want people missing out. That's the main reason why I got into real estate, not only meeting great individuals such as John, but also just being able to create those deals that puts money in your pocket. It's great having 1 million followers and 1 million fans, but when you can create 1 million millionaires, the world is yours. The world is yours. So John, thank you so much. A question for you before I let you go, and especially somebody in your position, definitely think would be beneficial. What is a quote or saying that you go by that just keeps you motivated day after day?
Every day gets better. So therefore, today is the best day of my life. Tomorrow will be the best day of my life, right? Wednesday, we're on Monday. Wednesday would be the best day of my life. So I always keep that attitude and that mentality. Every day gets better, right? Every day I get a little bit better or a lot of bit better, but every day gets better, man. That's the one thing that I always say to myself. The other thing is everything always works out for me. It's funny. I got a whole nother story about that. But long story short, I got put into almost an impossible situation. Like I said, I'm not going to go into details. And I remember just in my head, things like, man, everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. And sure as shit, it did. And I came out the back end probably 100 times, stronger, better, well off than I would have been. And it really just kind of solidified that belief. So 2 things I always say, man, every day gets better. Therefore today's the best day of my life, and everything always works out for me.
Um,
And there's 2 things I can guarantee. If you ever meet me or see me, every day is getting better, and everything works out for me, man. That's it.
I
Um,
love that. I love that. Well, I'm definitely stealing that and utilizing that, man. I got inspired all over again. It's another reason why I love doing these shows and bringing guests on such as yourself, and having that. And once you start thinking positive things will happen, and you're living proof of it, man. So thank you again so much for being on the RNG radio show. Definitely looking forward to having you back, and hope folks were paying attention and listening to know that they need to get in contact with you to work on some deals. So thanks again, John, for being on the show, man.
you're welcome. And if you don't mind, I'm
Yes,
happy to throw my personal contact info out there.
feel free to share, man. Feel free to
I'm not
share.
one to hide behind websites or anything like that. I just ask them, please don't spam me, right? I mean, you can reach out to me all you want. More than happy to help. I'll help anybody any way I can, but just please don't spam me. So information on our brokerage is joininspiredpartners.com, just to throw that out there again. My personal email, first initial, last name, the number 10 at Gmail. So it's jbarnak10 at gmail.com, JBARNAK10 at gmail.com. You can reach me there. My personal cell phone, right?
This is the
Personal
money
cell phone.
call, y'all. This is the
Call
money
me or
call.
text me here, right? Don't be obnoxious about it. My personal cell phone, 630-439-6385. And it's one more time, 630-439-6385. And we're looking to grow nationwide. So feel free to give me a shout if you have questions. And like I said, anything I could help with, I'm willing to give it a shot and do my best at with you guys.
That's awesome. I'm hoping your number stays the same, even if those shares move up to like $5-10 a share. Like, what? Who's this? I was never on a radio show.
Just stay safe. You know, it's funny.
No.
It's funny you say that. I've had the
Mhm.
same cell phone number since high school.
Awesome,
So
man. I'm in the same boat. I've been rocking the same number since 13. So 96. Yeah. 25 years going strong with the same number. So just gave out my age there, but let us like. But no, John, thank you again so much for being on the show. I'm hoping folks take advantage listening to this, and definitely I'm looking forward to having you come back, man.
yeah, more than happy to come back. We can do like a follow-up show in a few months, or whatever. Any value I can add for you or for your listeners, happy to do so. Grateful for the opportunity to share what we're up to.
Definitely.